Apex Legends universe is the same as that of Titanfall, and their new tie-in hero Valkyrie only brings many of us a stronger desire, or dare I say need, for a Titanfall 3.
Last time we discussed Titanfall 2, I asked what you would want in a Titanfall 3.
So here are our favorites, and somebody please send this to Respawn and get them on it, thanks.
Titanfall 2 has an extraordinarily good single-player campaign. The writing and characters were surprisingly strong, and if you didn't feel a connection to BT by the end, I think you might actually be a monster. So it's no surprise that the top request by Dennis Nick was a return of Matthew Mercer, who voiced the main protagonist Jack Cooper. Not only would this mean the return of Cooper and getting to see what exploits he's currently up to, but also we'd hopefully see a return of While Titanfall 2 had an amazing multiplayer experience, there are some areas that were changed from Titanfall 1 which, well, would be nice to see brought back. One of these was the Gen 10 system in multiplayer, which requires players to actually vary their loadouts and playstyle in order to rank up, and Elvaverx says it best. People forget how amazing the Gen 10 system was in Titanfall 1. Forcing players to use every weapon and ability got you out of your comfort zone and kept the game fresh. Frankly, it's easy to discover a weapon you love, master it, and just stick to it. Change is scary, but any reason to be brought out of your comfort zone can be rewarding. It not only meant that you had to become a better player to earn ranks, but learn how to fight other players doing the same thing. So this would be a very welcome return. Another common request from Titanfall 1 was to bring back custom voices, and similarly, Titan customization. Titanfall 2 lets you customize your pilot, but there's something lost when you can't personalize your Titan. As Jello Bob puts it, having Titan AI scream at me in Russian just hits different. That too.
Пилот на борту. С возвращением.
Hammering this point down further, Heifi Felski brings up MechWarrior 2, where customizing your mech was a bit of a balancing act. You had both weight and power limits, meaning you actually had to pretty strongly consider each thing you were equipping onto your mech. If the customization of your chassis, armor rating, battery slots, and secondary weapons was based on weight and power limits, it would allow for players to get super creative with their loadouts. Maybe someone wants to have a Scorch but sacrifice their secondary weapon for a jetpack. Maybe a Ronin, but with an extra battery slot that allows them to traverse the map even faster. Maybe an Atlas that can carry multiple secondary weapons by sacrificing speed. The potential amount of depth here is fantastic, and to counter the idea that this would be too nitty-gritty for new players who just want to pick up a game and play, I think if general good builds were automatically prepared for players to choose, this could easily make the game accessible for someone who wants that, but also allow for amazing customization. This also just makes common sense with the lore of Titanfall. The Militia is supposed to be a far more hard-scrabble group than the IMC, with far fewer resources, and it never quite made sense they had the same clean / well-put-together Titans. One thing that makes Titanfall 2 stand out from other FPS games is its incredible movement. You'll find yourself running along walls, sliding, and bunny hopping around to avoid bullets while blasting at your enemies. And one amazing addition to Titanfall 2 was its grappling hook, which allows players to spend even more time off the ground. It was maybe even too good, and often a default pick, meaning players didn't feel free to mess with other abilities. As such, Roland suggests that Titanfall 3 should either make the grappling hook a permanent passive ability to help increase movement speed, or perhaps give players 2 ability slots. That way you can always equip a grappling hook, which you should, or hey, it would provide even more customization, which is always a good thing when balanced properly. And to these points, we couldn't agree more. Back once again to Titanfall 1, more first-person Titan action. What I mean is, while Titanfall 2 featured absolutely sick executions, players were automatically taken to a third-person camera where you get to witness the glory and spectacle of it. Chagan316 suggests that these should instead take place entirely in the first person, as it made executions terrifying and really cool in the original Titanfall. Similarly, Amaizen wants first-person Titan entries back. Once again, Titanfall 2 reversed to showing these in the third person. However, Titanfall 1 had a slick animation showing the Titan grab you and throw you into its cockpit as you watch the display slowly turn on. This only added to the immersion and would definitely be a welcome return for a Titanfall 3. To that point, Viper suggests more pilot customization in general. For example, being able to use the phase shift pilot skin with the cloak ability, or like custom skins in general, kinda like Halo, and maybe the mix and match system for Titans in Titanfall 1. Granted, part of the reason these skins are specific is it gives players an easy way to quickly identify their opponent's stats at a glance. But if we're going to fully bulk up customization and, say, add 2 slots, then at that point it would nullify the visual aid and... Wait a second. Viper, didn't I kill you? Fresh Frixie 2358 suggests new modes of gameplay such as a co-op campaign similar to Portal 2. When Frontier Defense was added to Titanfall 2, it definitely added more replayability, and personally, I think it's hard to deny just how much fun a well-crafted co-op game with friends can be, and while I absolutely love both the single-player and multiplayer of Titanfall 2, something just hits different when it's you and your buddies against a computer. Davided hit us with a whole slew of suggestions. While I'll put all of them on screen right here for all of you to read and debate if you'd like, one that I'm going to point out that I haven't mentioned earlier is a ranked playlist. As Davided suggests, it would simply bring more of a competitive scene to Titanfall and make the game more enjoyable for hardcore gamers. And I think that's a great point. While there's always the issue of new players being stopped in a long-running multiplayer game, therefore not wanting to play, I do think finding ways to give players rankings and matching them that way is always a fantastic addition. It gives people added incentive to play, it helps give more skilled players a lobby where they won't be, as focused on obliterating new people, and frankly, anything that adds to the longevity of a multiplayer game is definitely a big plus. Flame 476 Lucky wants a longer single-player campaign in Titanfall 3. I'm of the opinion that Titanfall 2's solo campaign was perfect. It didn't outstay its welcome, and everything lasted just the right amount of time. But honestly, it was also so good that I wanted more, so anything that means more single-player campaign, I am all for. At this point, Apex Legends and Titanfall's worlds are one and the same. Characters and references to Titanfall 2 are abound in Apex Legends. Lucky Cat suggests that if there's ever a Titanfall 3, we should see references or even usage of Apex Legends characters. And why not? It would definitely help bring in new players who are already fans of Apex Legends, and the worlds are already combined, so it's not exactly a stretch. We suggested in the previous video that it would be great to see more types of escapes. The dropship is a genius way to let the losing team still have some kind of win, so it would be even better to have a few different scenarios. Olin Mill 64 agrees with this and thinks there's a lot of potential for different ideas that could integrate with the particulars of a map. Another suggestion we had was to make you feel bad about grunt farming. Titanfall 2 has them, specifically if you're a Titan, stop fighting and beg for you not to crush them. Tartapow suggests that it would be nice if they disappeared or something to that extent if you chose to spare them. What do you think? Finally, coming back to the single player, one thing I personally want to see is more action blocks used with an exploration of dynamic and fun new gameplay beats. In a GDC panel, designer Subi talked about how the team experimented with what they referred to as action blocks, where they quickly come up with gameplay styles and beats and iterate on the best of these. This is how they created such a fantastic first-person campaign, and I'm sure if the same creative team got together again, they could jam out even more incredible ideas. And there were incredible maps in single player where pilots were forced to contend with the moving stage, like the Factory. How cool would it be to see this incorporated into the multiplayer where you're not only contending with the enemy, but also quickly adapting your movement to adjust for an ever-changing stage?
What ideas do you agree with, or hey, strongly disagree with? Everyone has different tastes, so I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Let's keep dreaming Respawn can count to 3 better than Valve, and keep letting me know what you hope to see in a Titanfall 3. And I'll see you guys next time.